Hey, hey,
Hey, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect. Can you hear me?
Yep. Sounds good. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Just
How's your area of Brooklyn?
it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
I stay in Gowanus, so it's pretty nice. There's a lot of stuff around here to get groceries and all that, and everybody's being pretty good about social distancing and wearing masks, so
nice.
can't really complain. It is what it is. I think everybody's just kind of feeling the same way, kind of
Over.
just yeah, just kind of over it, just kind of like kind of like sick of people who aren't wearing masks and who are being reckless or just, tired of working from home and having your kids in the house all day, so
Right. So, yeah.
yeah.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. This is Laura, aka the Sound Sommelier, here with DJ Soko. Soko, how did being raised in a music mecca like Detroit shape your career path?
Um, I think in a lot of ways just well also I don't DJ anymore. I don't know if
Right, I
you
was
you
going to
knew
ask
that.
you if you just go by Soko
Yeah.
now. I saw that you don't really DJ anymore, so I wasn't sure if you changed your name up a bit.
Yeah, no, I mean I definitely like DJing is definitely a huge part of my story, and it's what got me into music. It was my start in music, but no, I just go by Soko. But that's a nickname I had from high school anyway. So, um, but just being from Detroit, I think just being surrounded by a lot of different musical influences, and we were kind of in a position of neutrality almost because we really gravitated towards East Coast music. We really gravitated towards West Coast music down south, like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we didn't really have a lot of the same regional discriminations that I think a lot of other cities have, where I think for a time there were, I mean, I can't say for sure because like I didn't live in New York, but just from the stories I've heard that there was a lot of bias, when the West Coast first started coming
Mm-hmm.
into the game. And it's just, historically it's been well documented. So
Yeah.
I think being in Detroit, we absorbed all those different musical influences and definitely, the electronic scene, the techno scene, us inventing techno,
Mm-hmm.
So um you add all that together and for me, just I always thought that we had some of the best music, on the planet. So um, hip hop was what I gravitated towards and what my friends were involved in, either making beats,
Mm-hmm.
rapping, DJing, So um, just kind of, I mean, I don't really have a poignant answer for it. Just like,
I thought that was pretty good.
yeah, basically. So,
So you mentioned like the records that your friends were playing. Do you remember what some of the first records were that kind of caught your ear? Or
probably Outkast, ATLiens, and Ready to Die by Notorious B.I.G. Um, also 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang. I was born in 1985, so I didn't get put onto those records when they came out, but like I think like maybe 4 years, 5 years after, when I was still like kind of young, but I probably have my dates fucked up right now, but like I want to say, yeah, I want to say I was at least in like middle school when I
yeah.
started, hearing Wu-Tang and Biggie and
Mm-hmm.
Jay-Z and Nas and a lot of my friends just they absorbed a lot of different stuff. Like so whether it was East Coast stuff, whether it was Outkast, whether it was Ice Cube, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Um, but yeah, those were some of the records I was hearing, starting out.
So back when you became a DJ, do you remember what the first record was that you bought with your own money?
It was probably like some promotional white label stuff that I saw at Street Corner Music, which is a very infamous record store in suburban Detroit, in
Mm-hmm.
Metro Detroit. Um, damn, I can't even say. I remember one of the first 12 inches that I bought was Royce the 5'9" Boom, and on the B side, I can't remember what was on the B side, but it was definitely Boom. That was like one of the first vinyl 12s that I got was DJ Premier, Royce the 5'9", boom. And then the rest is kind of like a blur. Like honestly, when I first started DJing, I was smoking like a lot of weed. Like I haven't smoked in
Full
like 13.
disclosure.
No, I haven't smoked in like 13 years, but I was smoking a lot of weed when I started DJing, which was like when I was like 15, 16. So
Mhm.
that's kind of the age when you're starting to mess around with stuff like that. So
No judgments. How did the Detroit-based hip hop act The Left with you, Apollo Brown, and Journalist 103 come together?
um honestly, I had a really small part in that. I think I played a good part in it, but I don't think it was like the biggest part. I think all the credit and acclaim for that project really goes to producer Apollo Brown and MC Journalist 103. Um, I really just got brought into it because I was DJing for Journalist,
Mhm.
and I was like there for all the studio sessions. So when it was like Journalist, Apollo, and Guilty Simpson coming by to do like a guest verse, or Invincible coming by to do a verse, or Marv One coming by the studio to do a verse. I was there. I was in every single session. I was at the recording sessions, the mixing sessions, and so I like Apollo wanted to incorporate, excuse me, Apollo wanted to incorporate like some DJ stuff on there, some scratches.
Yeah.
So I was in the studio to do it, and then when they got the record deal with Mellow Music Group, Apollo, like I give him a lot of credit for this. He included me in the deal, so like I got paid for that record. So and all I did was like scratches on like two songs, and then when they started touring, like going to Europe, Canada, all that stuff, like they brought me along to be their tour DJ. So it wasn't really like in the original plan. I don't know. I would have to ask Apollo, but definitely I got included after the fact. Like once it started,
Mhm.
gaining, legs as far as finishing the album and having the album become like something that they were gonna do.
Right. Well, even if you're an honorary member, I think that still counts. Um, so the debut album, The Gas Mask, was very well received and even inspired a spot on DJ Premier's list of the year's best albums. What kind of attention did that gain for your career?
Um, Honestly, just for people to even know who I was enough to give a fuck about me based on association to Apollo Brown, honestly. Because Apollo now and even then when he was still making his ascent, he
Mhm.
had he had the hot hand. So being affiliated with his name was a big deal, and then having DJ Premier further affiliated in some way with him, you know, and like him and Preem are friends now, so that's crazy.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, it just I think it put me in the proximity enough for people to care to talk about, like have conversations with me,
Right.
when they found out I was involved with that. And I don't know. I mean, I think it exposed me to a lot of different things. I got to go on the road. I got to learn about how contracts work. I got to learn about um, just different things about musicality and the business side of things. So it informed a lot of my decisions on what I wanted for myself and what I didn't want for myself moving forward. So
Yeah, sometimes all it takes is someone who like sees something in you to kind of be like, "Hey, we're gonna bring him along."
yeah,
Um,
no, no, yeah.
can you share any memories from when you toured Europe?
Um, well, the memory that I would share with people is that it's not fucking glamorous at all. It's very tiring. I was only getting like 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep every night, and then you're getting up
On
the next
top of
day.
on top of the jet lag.
Well, no, I just mean like on tour, you have like a routine, like a schedule. You
Hmm.
go, you check in, you sound check, you do the show,
Hmm.
you like talk to fans after the show or whatever. You go back to your hotel, you go to sleep maybe about 4 or 5 hours. You get up in the morning, everybody has to be in the lobby so you can drive to the next city or next country, or,
Right.
or wherever you're going. You're in a van with a bunch of smelly ass dudes all day. You unload, check into the hotel, you're sound checking, you're waiting backstage till you got to perform. You perform, do the same thing over and over again, getting maybe 4 to 6 hours of sleep at best every night. So the one thing I would say about touring is it kind of sucks. So it's gratifying and it's fun when you're on stage and the money's good.
Hmm.
Well, the money's not so good anymore, but but yeah, no, it's a lot more grueling than people would think. So that's the one thing I would say.
Right. Um, was there anyone that you met on that tour?
Honestly, it's all a blur. Like I don't really remember, like uh I think we did oh yeah, we did something with Chip Fu. We did a festival with Chip Fu in France. And
Hmm.
then the very, very last show was in Denmark, and it was us and Random Acts. So for those that don't know, Random Acts is the late Sean Price, Guilty Simpson, and Black Milk. So we already knew like Black and Guilty just from the crib, from being from Detroit. But I had never met Sean P. Apollo had never met Sean P. I don't think until then. And same thing with journalists. So we kicking it with Sean P. was cool. He's I mean he was a very genuine human. He didn't mince words. Um, he was very funny. His music was great, great stage presence. So yeah, rest in peace to him. But meeting him on tour was dope because I had actually never met him um, in my time in New York, or just Detroit or whatever. That was my only time meeting him. So
Nice. Um, so what prompted your relocation from Detroit to New York?
um, it's really not like it's really no crazy story with that. I was in a relationship at the time, and I interviewed for a job when I was visiting one time, and I got the job. I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll move. I've always liked New York, and my brother lives here, so
Oh,
I was back and forth a lot to see him and then to see my friends. A lot of my friends relocated to New York, or a lot of my friends were either relocated to New York or they were just from New York, like born and raised. So,
mhm.
um,
So it was just made sense.
yeah, yeah, no, the relationship has since fizzled out after many, many years ago, but it got me to New York. So,
So you've worked with Soul Spasm and AWOL labels, but founded Left of Center beforehand in 2014. What were some of your most notable releases?
um, I mean, probably Nolan the Ninja. I released his EP, Fuck the Hype, digitally. Then we did his debut album, Heart, and his sophomore album, Yen. Did did vinyl, cassette, digital for that, and that's probably my most notable. Those are probably my string of most notable releases on Left to Center, just because I think it laid a nice groundwork for his for his career trajectory and with the stuff that he did with Mellow Music Group and the stuff that he's doing now. So
Yeah, I think I learned about him from you.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean he definitely works very hard and makes great music, and
Mhm.
I just am grateful that I had the chance to like be a vessel to help amplify that at the time. So
So the first time I saw you live was at Donuts Are Forever 11 in 2017. Being from
hmm
Detroit, when were you introduced to Dilla's music?
um I think I was in high school, and I think it was I don't know if you remember Elemental magazine,
I do.
but
I still
I
have some
think
issues.
yeah, I think there was either an interview or something that he did in there, and just like different reviews and just different stuff that would pop up recommending certain music, like his name would always pop up in there. And then just kind of like going back and learning that he was from Detroit. So that's when I would say probably like mid to late high school years.
So you've said a DJ dictates the climate. We're meant to get shit poppin' and help people enjoy themselves, but also to put people up on music that we feel passionate about, educate people on some shit they may or may not know of. Is that part of why you chose to shift your time and attention to be more focused on artist management?
Mm, I mean, yes and no. Not, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, I want artists to succeed and I want them to do well, whether you're a producer, whether you're a rapper, whether you're a singer. I right now I manage five hip hop producers. I manage Theory Has It, Beatnik D out of LA, Trox, Fortes, and Vanderslice. So at the end of the day, I want to see creatives make money off what they do and be treated fairly. So I think what motivated me the most is just that I recognized where my strengths were. And I think my strength isn't necessarily in being a DJ or actually creating music. I think my strength is helping people uh, succeed and thrive off their art. So,
Nice.
I mean, I've seen, I mean, not to get, like, I'm not gonna put anything or anybody on blast, but I know where the bodies are buried. I know like how shitty the music business can be. So
Yeah,
I don't want people to get fucked over, and I want to help people succeed and get treated fairly.
that's
So
amazing. Hmm.
if I can even play like a small part in doing that, at least in my at least like in the micro, which would be like my relationships with people that I manage, and then my like I can be happy with that at least.
The music business needs more people like you. um,
Thanks.
how has the pandemic changed your approach to sharing what you do best with the world, or to doing what you do best?
Honestly, I don't think anything's changed in that respect, because like I'm still using like just relationships that I've built over years and years, and just like also still using social media and still using word of mouth with taking advantage of my Rolodex and keeping in touch with people. And I think it's important to just stay informed and just keep up conversations with people. Like, although we're not outside how we used to be, it's still good to check in with people. I've been trying to make a point of it of making phone calls to people and having
Same.
conversations with people
Hmm.
that that I either know from music or just life. I mean, shit kind of sucks right now, so I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just got to buckle down. So
Yeah, I think a lot of that's just keeping connections alive and then also kind of helping people kind of stay checked in.
no,
Um,
definitely, definitely.
yeah. So what have you been listening to? Do you have a pandemic playlist?
Um, I wouldn't necessarily say that I have a pandemic playlist, but
I just mean like,
definitely.
is there a playlist you've listened to like within the last 6 months that's kind of
No, I mean I just pay attention to what drops on Fridays, like um the new Big Sean album, Detroit 2, out today. That shit is amazing. A lot of people that I'm either cool with or like we're 1 degree separated, we're involved with that album, so that makes me really happy. Detroit just as a whole really came together for that project. Just from people who wrote on that album, produced on the album, did a feature on the album. So I'm listening to that. Um, a lot of the stuff that Knowledge drops on his Bandcamp. The singer from the UK called Cleo Sol. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but she's really dope.
nice.
Frank, aka FWMJ, put me onto her, so I've been listening to her. Uh, the new Locks album, definitely been listening to that. Uh, been listening to Joyce Rice.
Love her.
Yeah, I don't necessarily listen to stuff that's like brand new or just came out, but
Mhm.
there are things that kind of make their way into my rotation that came out like early on in the pandemic or
Right.
just before the pandemic, and they kind of find their way back around, and
They
then
make
like
sense.
and then like new stuff comes out, and I add that to my Apple Music. So um, definitely the Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist project that still gets a lot of rotation from me.
Yeah.
Um, who else? I'm trying to think. Uh, Sada Baby from Detroit. I've listened to Sada Baby. I listen to a lot of stuff that I think that people wouldn't think that I listened to because I was involved with a project with Apollo Brown, who is like
Uh-huh.
the most like heart to the core hip hop producer ever. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of people would be surprised looking at my Apple Music because there's a lot of stuff that I listen to that I just don't think they would think I listen to. So
I love that. Surprise. Um, so you mentioned the artists that you're working with. Do they have any upcoming projects that you want to promote or?
yeah, Beatnik D just dropped an instrumental album with Soul Spasm called Order and Chaos. Um, Trox just dropped a single today with an artist from Miami called Jay Nix. And he's doing a live stream on Twitch on September 14th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for Jay Nix's EP. That's the release day for it. So they're going to be premiering a music video, doing like a Q&A. Trox
Okay.
is going to be like making beats live and breaking some of them down. Um, yeah, we did it. We did a partnership with Twitch just before the pandemic, and we finalized it after the pandemic hit. So I'm really glad about that because a lot of people are really flocking to Twitch now, and
Uh-huh.
it's a format that we were able to get into partnership with them as a company before this happened. So I'm
That's
happy
great.
about that. So
Um, so you shared a tweet in late May that read, Black Lives Matter, support with your dollars, support with your actions, and be an ally. Have you
hmm
noticed any significant change in your community in regards to the mistreatment of people of color, specifically Black people, since the murder of George Floyd?
um, when you say my community, do you mean,
It
well,
could be like your circle or where you live or any environments that you have a
I
view.
mean, in my circle of friends, we've been, this is the type of time that we've always been on is um my friends who are black, they've always been fighting for social change and racial justice. My friends who aren't black have always been allies. Um, and in terms of my community, I mean, it's gentrified white Brooklyn. Like it's not really changing, but maybe a little bit. Maybe
Mhm.
maybe a little bit, and it's hard to tell who's being performative and who is actually genuine now. Um, So I can't really tell as far as like the neighborhood I live in, but in terms of just like my circle of friends, like we've already been on this type of time. Like we didn't wait for uh these things to happen, these tragic events to happen to be performative about our allyship. Like this is something that like you should be just doing already. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And especially especially if you're involved in black music. Like I've never understood that. I've never understood anybody involved in hip hop who is not black who can be racist. Like that does not make sense to me at all.
Mhm.
Um, you know, just yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
kind of why
want to.
I
I
ask
don't.
everyone
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I think if I think that you owe it to your friends and to your community and to the music you're involved in and to the artists that you are a fan of, that you care about, or that you say that you care about to be an ally, you know. Um, yeah, no, I just think that should be a given. If you're involved in black music, you need to be a fucking ally. Like that's just
I
where
like.
I stand on it.
I can agree with that. Well, I thank you so much for taking the time. Is there anything else that you want to add or promote that we didn't touch upon?
Um, Not particularly, just
Okay.
everybody I'm involved with, Trox, Vanderslice, Beatnik D, Theory Has It, Fortes.
Is there anywhere other than your Instagram where people can keep an eye on what you have going on?
Probably Twitter. I'm on Twitter more than I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
So my Twitter is at DJ Soko, just DJSOKO. So it's same as my Instagram, just minus the 85.
Mhm.
So probably Twitter. They could find me on. I'm on there more often.
Well, I hope you
So
have a great weekend.
No,
Stay
you
safe.
too, and enjoy the 3 day weekend. But yeah, no, stay safe as well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for talking to me.
No
Have a good
problem.
night.
Peace. You too.